So how long have you been in business? Tell us a little bit how you got started.
Yeah, so Vista Pools is our sixth year. It really just kind of got started by happenstance, I guess you could say. My background primarily project management, estimating, purchasing of raw materials, and it started with a friend who was already in the industry, and it just kind of a partnership had come together.
Okay. That's one of our big topics, partnerships. Martin was
Right.
able to share a little bit about this with me before we started. Um, but yeah, tell me about your partnership. How you got what was was the handshake agreement?
For the most part, it was a handshake agreement.
Yeah. So yeah, how did that get started? Tell me about like what your vision was for the company together.
I think therein lies the problem with partnerships. I think partnerships kind of they're born, they're incubated in this space of sort of wonderment. Um, it's a skewed perception of reality, though. I think not everyone can share the same dream. I think it takes some very unique relationships to be on exactly the same page, which is what's necessary for a successful partnership.
Yeah, you sound like you're talking from experience. Was that what you guys had? Like, who is what were your roles in the company as partners?
That's the problem. They were never defined. They were right, Martin. They were never defined up front. It was just being each other's cheerleader, you know. So
Hmm.
you can only cheer so much without having actual results.
Yeah.
Let me just jump in real quickly and say, in a really good partnership agreement, not only will you have the same vision and be on the same page and the same clarity, but a partnership agreement should deal with things such as if one of you dies, if you decide to split up, if you need more money, who puts money in, what do you get for putting that money in, who ultimately makes the decision, can a partner borrow against the company and therefore obligate the partner unknowingly? There are all these issues. So if you look at those, did you deal with them?
No.
I already know the answer. But if you die, I'm just putting that out so people kind of have a mental checklist that a handshake isn't good enough. It's maybe good enough for today, but reality changes.
Yeah.
It just always does.
True. There was a written partnership agreement, uh, but honestly, it was minimal, just enough to satisfy the needs of the bank to have
Right.
accounts.
And I want to go more like story time. And, I'm assuming what probably happened. I could be completely wrong here. I don't know the full story. But for most partnerships, the way that I see it turning out is a couple of friends have known each other for a while. They may be in the same space or, similar spaces. And they decide, you know what, we should go out on our own. We can do this. Like they've got uh, this venture in mind and they want to, accomplish it. A lot of times there's a little bit of, you know, theoretically, each person could probably go out on their own and be successful. Or at least one of the partners could go and do it themselves successfully. But there's that reassurance and comfort in having someone alongside you to do it with you. And then you go and you get started, and it's pull up a Google search for a partnership agreement and buy it off of LegalZoom and go ahead and sign that thing and get your LLC formed. And then you start running, and it's a dream come true and a honeymoon phase. But anyways, I want to hear your side of that story. Am I anywhere in line or am I completely off base?
No, you're pretty well in line, and I think like anything, you certainly wouldn't enter into something like that if you had any inkling that there would be bumps down the road. Like you said, honeymoon phase. That's a,
Yeah.
a perfect description of it. And uh, while the other partner is just a terrific human being, um, personally, socially, all of those things, um, you just perfectly aligning with someone and having the same views and goals. It's difficult.
In Pat, this is how I met Scott, helping to unwrap that, which we did over a period of time, which cost some money. But you have different skill sets. You want to talk about that? That's one of the main things. You had completely different skill sets, and one could be seen as speaking French and the other Portuguese, right?
This is
You
true.
know, for communication and understanding.
Yeah, and really, what had brought the company to Martin for his expertise was a very specific conversation that we had the previous partner and I, and we had set a certain financial goal for the company where we wanted to get, and one day we hit it. You know, of course, it was pushed a little bit by the coronavirus demand and whatnot, but the specific conversation was, hey, where do we go from here? Do we want to just sort of coast from here, or do we want to dig in and really grow this thing and make it something that can stand on its own two legs and have value? And we agreed, let's dig in, let's make it happen. And the conversation continued from there, that while we certainly know how to do the work, we know how to get the work, we know how to do the work, we don't know how to grow a business. And we agreed to search out someone that could help us with that. So that's really how we got to Martin, not necessarily to unwind a partnership, if that makes sense.
Right, but it became apparent pretty quickly that it needed to be cleaned up, and that's where the division showed up.
Correct. Yeah. So my background, like I said, I've kind of always been a process-minded person, and I think that's what led me early in my professional adult career into project management, which shortly thereafter led to quality systems management, developing processes, auditing against those processes, identifying non-conforming products and materials, corrective and preventive action. So to me, there's always a start and an end to everything, and it's not a lot of deviation. When there is a deviation, you have to identify it, correct it, and prevent it.